It's time for a familiar exercise, but a slight spin on the approach to it. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Brian from Airflow Music. Welcome back to another video. This is the October 21st edition of our Go Practice Daily series. I hope you're having a great day today. Quick aside before we get into anything, happy birthday Dizzy Gillespie. It would have been his birthday today. I always think that's worth celebrating. In today's video we're going to go through the 5-bar tonguing exercise once again, but we're going to switch things up a little bit in how we approach it, because there was an interesting question about this exercise in the comments from yesterday's video. The question comes from Ramaswamy Sokanandan, and they would like to know if it's a good idea to play these exercises pianissimo. Thank you for the question, and sorry if I butchered pronouncing your name. Playing these exercises softly is definitely a good idea, and it's probably something I've not quite concentrated enough on as we've been working through the 5-bar exercise thus far. So let's look at that a little bit today. Now, I'm not going to say necessarily that we should play it pianissimo. What I am going to do as I play this exercise today is play at my softest comfortable volume. So I've addressed this before, but the softest comfortable volume is as soft as we can go, where we don't feel like we've got to pinch with our lips or really grip hard to try and hold on to the notes. We're just trying to get the most relaxed, soft response that we can get going. Okay, so that's what I'm going to aim for here. So not pianissimo necessarily, but just as soft and gentle and as best of a soft response as we can muster. Okay, that's what we're going to go for. Other than that, the exercise is the same that we've been doing. Again, I'm currently playing this at 120 beats a minute, which is the tempo that I'm going to go at in this rendition of the exercise. You can always download the PDF. You'll find the link below to get it for free from the Airflow Music online store, and play along with your own metronome if this tempo is too fast for you. Or as some people like to do, you can actually get YouTube to play the video a little bit slower if you look under the settings in the video player. Anyway, let's get into playing part 1 of the exercise. As we're familiar with now, the rhythmic pattern we're using is 1 bar of 8th notes, 1 bar of triplets, 1 bar of 16th notes, a 1 bar hold followed by a 1 bar rest. And we're repeating that rhythmic pattern from the sequence of notes in part 1 from low C chromatically down to low F sharp. We do this as a long setting, so the mouthpiece remains on our lips throughout. But the difference is I'm really focusing on being as comfortably soft as I can. So let's try it with that, because I think that'll yield something interesting when we get into part 2. But let's play part 1 to begin with. So part 1 went down fairly smoothly, not too bad at all. Little blip on, was it the low A flat if I recall, just for a moment. But other than that, everything went fairly smoothly. And so that was a good little bit of setup for us, so we can move forward and get into part 2. Now, in part 2, the rhythmic pattern remains the same, the sequence of notes changes. Now we start on low C and move chromatically upwards as far as we can towards high C, ideally. So that's what we're going to do. We do this as a long setting, but this is the time when we have to be careful and stop at any sign of trouble in our long setting. When the sound changes, when we feel like we're forcing too much, when the response gives up on us, because we're not trying to force through anything here. We want to build a nice balanced sort of strength in our corners and our embouchures to help us play things that we need to play. That's the purpose of doing this, along with dealing with our tonguing. Once again, I'm keeping this soft, really on the soft side, and I'll be intrigued to see how far doing that lets me get in the long setting. It's possible that it makes it even easier to continue for longer, but I have a feeling that if I'm not leaning on the air and leaning on the volume in particular, that the soft response may break down on me a little earlier than it has been. We shall see. Anyway, once again, we're going at 120 beats a minute, and here's part 2. As I suspected, it was the soft response that gave up on me a little earlier than it might otherwise have done. So, let's get back to this after our short break, continue from where we left off, and see how far we can get. Hopefully we'll make it all the way up to high C. Okay, so after the slightly earlier breakdown of the response, because I was going so softly, Then, as I tried to continue, I blipped on the very first phrase, but then it was only another note before it gave up on me completely. So I think this was really worthwhile, dealing with part 2 in this way and playing this much more softly. For the most part, things were feeling easier up to that point, but I evidently got a little bit out of balance because the response gave up. So this is something to continue working on in this way. Playing this as comfortably soft as we can is going to be a useful tool in getting this kind of soft response developed, make it reliable. And this helps for a number of reasons. It helps us deal with our soft playing, but also it helps us deal with the smaller quantity of air, which means that the aperture is smaller. And the other condition in which the aperture is small is when we're playing in the upper register. Comparatively, that needs less air than down low, so the aperture tends to be smaller. So playing middle register where it's easy for us, but playing quite softly and getting that soft response happening at a soft volume is then going to help our lips respond when we're dealing with small but faster air in the upper register. But with that said, let's cool down by playing part 3, and I'll see you after that. Once again, 120 beats a minute. It's the same as part 1. The sequence of notes is low C chromatically down to low F sharp. Let's play that. Good, there's part 3 in the book. So that's the exercise for today. And like I said already, I think this yielded some interesting results. It's certainly something I'm going to be considering, along with what I said yesterday about making sure to take our break soon enough. Doing this and having the response fall apart on me was really an opportunity to do that and really properly pay attention and stop when I needed to, rather than ploughing on through and forcing something. So overall, I think this has been a very worthwhile exercise to do again today. I hope you find that you've agreed with me, and if you have and you've enjoyed this exercise playing along with me, then please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll be back with another video tomorrow, and until then, thanks very much for watching and go practice.